Larry King Show is taking your calls now at 703-685-2177. That's 703-685-2177. And now, Larry King.
Defending Your Life, coming late this year, early next, from Albert Brooks, will be the first movie, the first true story of what happens to you when you die.
After you die.
Charlotte, North Carolina, for Albert Brooks. Hello.
Hello, Larry. Hello, Albert.
Hello.
Hi.
I absolutely loved Lost in America,
Well,
which started with you waking up to Larry's show.
that's right, with none other than Rex Reed.
Rex Reed.
Oh, the scene where you were asking Gary Marshall to get your money back was one of my favorites.
Me too. All-time great scenes.
And-
The Vegas scene.
They won. You lost.
They won, you lost.
You lost.
And I just wanted to ask you, what was that one of your favorite movies, and what it was like making that film?
It was. Well, I guess I'm so in the middle of this that seems like actually Modern Romance was my favorite movie because I think it was really gutty to present that kind of behavior. Am I doing something wrong?
No, I was pointing to the screen for him.
Oh, I think I sort of like that the best because I think that not many people put that behavior up there for other people to look at. So I like that. But Lost in America was a great deal of fun, except for the actual drive across the country to film the last scene in the movie. We did it coming backwards with 2 motorhomes and a Jeep and about 9 crew people in each motorhome, and we left New York, and we were singing at Philadelphia, and by New Orleans, people actually broke someone's arm. I mean, and by Texas, we parked them and flew home. You're in a Winnebago in the middle of Iowa, and you've eaten 100 Twinkies, and there's 6 people lined up to go to a bathroom that is stopped up in Louisiana.
But you got that great parking spot in New York.
Yes.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
We go to Melbourne, Florida, with Albert Brooks. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
So glad you're feeling so great, Larry Bubbler.
Thank you.
All right, now, the last time I spoke to you was just when you were going into the hospital. And you want me to have a question for Albert Brooks?
I do.
All right, I called you at the hospital. I sent you some good information, and now I will talk to Albert Brooks.
By the way, I'm glad to give up my time if you want to talk to him a little more about the hospital.
No, what is your question?
I want to talk to Albert Brooks, and then if Larry wants to say something to me, that's okay.
This woman's narrating our lives. That's right. Then after the show, Albert, I want you to go home, and Larry, you should see your wife. Huh?
Give me a chance and cut breaking up Larry now.
Okay.
I want to test your memory.
Mm-hmm.
The night, just before Larry was going to the hospital, it was, I think, the night before, I called. I gave Larry some information on something to help him get some of his energy back. And Larry had been speaking about poetry and loving the sound of certain rhymings and poetry and music and so on and so forth. So I read him.
Wait, one thing.
You're going to get to your point.
Wait, no, let me interrupt for a second. I'm going to put some money in the meter.
Okay. Ma'am, what is your question?
I want to hear, Albert, if you recall what you said to Larry that night about that poem that I read to him. I spoke to him. I want to know if you...
Oh, you spoke to me and then Albert spoke to me.
I spoke to you. I told you a beautiful poem and you said, wow. And then Albert intervened. He called you suddenly from someplace, I don't recall where, and he made a statement to you. I want to know if he recalls.
I absolutely do.
What was it, Albert?
I said this woman sometime will call us back and talk to us, and we will be confused.
Onward.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't even remember Larry was sick. What's the matter with me? He looked so good.
Onward to...
But I'll remember this call. If you call me in 2 years, the call that I forgot, I'll remember. That I will.
We go...
Let me associate it with something. Hold it. Thing, a crushed. Got it. Well, remember. I just took one of those cable memory courses, Larry. Is that the stuff? They have these things on cable to teach memory. All they do is they teach an audience to remember 20 words. What's number 8? Kangaroo. What's number 7? Urine. I mean, where are you going to use this? Is that what you want to pay $900 for, to learn those 20 words? Eddie, what's 14? Yeah, yellow. Right. Okay, so that's great. Now we can go out and memorize together.
Wiley
Coyote. Oh, I thought a cartoon character was calling.
Not Coyote, no.
All right.
This is a small town, sir.
Mr. Brooks, I was interested in your response to Mr. King's question about what you were working on, and you talked about the problems that you were having when editing. So then I was wondering, you shot all the film, I assume. So could you explain what kind of issues came up and what what kind of problems those were?
I don't think it was like problems, like bad stuff. I was saying it's sort of it's like writing. It's constantly problem solving. There's no place at which you reach points where you make. How can I explain this to you? You have many different choices in a film. You can cover a scene with 5 or 6 angles. You might find that a scene isn't working, and you have the camera on the person who's saying it, and something's not happening for you. So you think about it, then you go back and you try it on the person listening to what they're saying. All of a sudden, wow, it makes your stomach twinge. So, like, you feel great about that. Now you go on to the next scene after that, and maybe that's not. So it's just constant choices. There are a lot of choices, and there should be.
When does the music come in?
The music just begins. I hired a composer about last week, as a matter of fact. A real good composer. Very excited. And we're talking him now. So early on.
Onward to Indianapolis with Albert Brooks. Hello.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi.
Albert, it's a real treat to talk to you. One of the only 2 fan letters I've ever written in my life was written to you when I was a teenager and you were first appearing on Johnny Carson's show.
That's funny. That's one of the only 2 I answered. Isn't that ironic?
You did. I got a very, very nice answer from you. Very funny too.
Really?
Appreciated it. Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask the comedy albums that you cut a long time ago. Is there any possibility that those might be re-released, especially on CD?
Well,
This is hard to answer.
Well, how do we ask? It's hard to answer. Do I look like MCA? They're in a vault somewhere. They're owned by large companies. I would love it to be
Has anyone
re-released.
ever asked them? This has never come up before?
Oh, I don't think. I mean, I think it would be me asking them, and I was on to newer stuff. But I mean, it might happen one day. Maybe.
I mean, you did some brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
And with everything coming out now on CD, one would think that they ought to be interested. You're
Great. I've got something to do tomorrow. Let me get on the horn.
on the horn.
Yeah.
You really use that expression?
Well, I really have a horn.
Wait a minute. You don't use a phone?
No, I use a ram's horn phone. And you get it at Sports Illustrated for subscribing.
I see.
And they don't know it's a ram's horn phone. They think it's a regular ram's horn.
That's a sneaker.
That's the most insulting commercial. Those whole series of commercials are so insulting that
For
people
sporting-
are
yeah,
morons.
for the
They're
sports-
morons. They like those videotapes like they're like diamonds. Dad, here, a videotape of 700 flubs. Whoa! Sissy! What kind of families give this?
And it's free when you order
Yeah,
sports.
it's free,
You don't have to buy
right.
it.
No.
We'll be right back. Do you ever order from 800 numbers late at night on television?
I do.
Impress me that you do. I get the feeling you do.
Do you?
I don't, but I think you do.
I bought a walk and a vibrator. Actually, it was the same thing.
We'll be back with Albert Brooks
The vibrating walk.
after these messages.
Isn't that a George?
It's out there again, waiting. Allergy season, with the sneezing, sniffling, itchy, watery eyes. But if you use fast-acting Benadryl or Benadryl decongestant as directed, allergies won't make you feel so vulnerable, day after day. Benadryl from Park Davis, the most prescribed allergy medication ever.
It's come to our attention some of you are not jumping in puddles, and others have not chased a butterfly in years. So while summer's still here, make time for a pitcher of Country Time lemonade-flavored drink mix with a taste of good old-fashioned lemonade and natural lemon flavor. And while it may not be as uplifting as making giraffes out of clouds, it's a start. Country Time. Take time for summer's pleasures.
Last year, the number of homeless people reached record levels. Millions of Americans went hungry. Our environment edged closer to an irreversible, life-threatening pollution. And our arts and education systems remain in fragile financial condition. Meanwhile, Americans spent over $17 billion on recorded music and concert tickets. Think of the progress we could make if, instead, we gave just a fraction of that money to our community. It really takes so little to help. Just 5% of your income for the causes you really care about. Already, millions of people have helped establish 5% as America's standard of giving. This year, make it your goal to give 5. What you get back is immeasurable.
A message from Independent Sector and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Larry King Show, tonight from Westwood One in Los Angeles. And now, Larry King.
Yes, sir.
Well, our guest is Albert Brooks. Why am I talking like that? Albert Brooks's next film will be Defending Your Life. We go to Prescott, Maine. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Fine.
Thank you very much for having me on. I wanted to ask Mr. Brooks how he feels about Stan Freberg.
Well, in high school, the United States of America was one of my favorite records, and I will always love him for that.
Me too.
And I love him and his kid selling me encyclopedias. No, I think Stan Freberg did, he's great.
He was ahead of his time.
Well, about 2 hours.
Two
But
hours ahead of
so's Panasonic. So what are you
we
gonna
go
do?
to we go to Cumberland.
Which, by the way, is the stupidest slogan for a company that makes electronic things.
What do you
isn't it?
mean?
Panasonic, we're slightly ahead of our time. I mean, you don't want what they make watches and clocks. Anyway, go ahead.
Cumberland, Maryland. Hello.
Yes, I've seen Real Life. I love modern romance. I've seen all your work, at least your films, and I was just wondering to what degree, if any, you how do you feel about Woody Allen and his comedy? I know he's dabbling in drama right now. The film you have coming out, I assume it's a comedy, but have you ever thought about doing drama?
Well, I mean, the film I have coming out is a comedy, but in the best sense, if I succeed, it'll give it. I hate when people say this but it should have everything. You should get the chills. You should feel your sadness, and you should laugh your head off. It's just like life is. It's like meeting a girl and having her leave you all in one night.
Okay. And about Woody Allen?
Well, who can not like Woody Allen? Although he is dabbling in drama, or drowning in drama, as some people used to say. No, Woody, you can't. Woody Allen's great. How can you not? Woody Allen's besides his film, I love his career. He's got the greatest career, and
he's doing
commercials in Japan.
Is he?
Yeah. Everyone who's supposedly doesn't do anything makes a lot of money by doing things in Japan. So Japan sees the artists that we think are the snobbiest as the biggest sellouts. It's all confusing. De Niro's over there for Carvel. You looking at me?
To Cleveland. Hello.
Albert, you're a very perceptive guy. I was wondering, what do you think President Bush said to Mrs. Bush after the conclusion of the recent economic summit? And I'll hang up and listen to your response.
Well, good question there. Didn't really talk to her. Busy. First of all, didn't recognize her. Told her to wear blue. She didn't. But George Bush turned to Mrs. Bush at the end of the economic summit.
What do you think he'd have said? Albert doesn't do jokes.
He said, maybe that's not really our kid.
We go to Atlanta. Hello.
Good evening, Larry. A couple of notes. First of all, good luck with the Salvation Army games.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Second of all, I happened to see at the National Federation of the Blind convention in Dallas. Very honored. That was the first time I've ever seen you speak in person.
Thank you. Tell Albert I was funny.
Albert, he was funny, although you did offend some of the crowd, I will be honest.
Larry Dice King.
Well, Larry, can I pass on your remark about your dress, and then I'll get to Albert's question? You were dressed. You remember that day?
That I was dressed in jeans?
Yeah, do you mind? He said,
I don't mind.
He's dressed in a jeans and a sweatshirt or something, and he says, "This is the first time I've ever been able to dress poorly and get away with it."
Oh, Larry, I'm shocked.
Okay.
Albert.
Good, Larry.
Okay.
Well, let's pitch the deaf convention.
Seriously, though, Albert, one more piece of inside information from broadcast news, if you would.
Yes, sir.
Why was Holly Hunter crying those 3 or 4 times?
Oh, I got it. Why?
Yeah.
Well, I think, I was not the writer, but I think I can answer that question. I think that was sort of to build a character who is erratic and nervous and nuts and exactly okay 1 minute and the next minute a mess and then okay again.
Like a lot of people we know.
Yes. Do you know,
Especially
sir?
in this business.
Yeah.
Sir?
Yeah.
Do you know any women like that?
Yeah, I'm close.
But they don't stop crying.
Oh, sometimes that's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
What?
Sometimes the crying is good, though.
Yeah. What are you wearing right now?
Birthday suit, sir.
Oh, God, I want that answer. I wanted you to say something, then I was going to ask Larry to make a joke about it.
We'll go onward to Rome, Georgia. Hello.
Hey, Albert.
Yes, sir?
I got 3 questions. One is,
Go.
are there any actors that you want to act with in the future?
Well, you mean some who aren't born yet?
No.
Are there any actors you haven't worked with that you would like to?
Oh, yes, many actors. I would like to work with...
like whom?
Well, I wouldn't mind working with Robert De Niro again. I did a little thing in Taxi Driver years ago.
You were terrific in that scene.
Yeah, oh, thanks. But I would like to do that, and I think Dustin Hoffman would be a fun person to work with.
How about
Lots of
Pacino?
people. Pacino? Oh, yes, sir. I don't work in latex as well, but I would like to.
Can you think he was great in Tracy?
Well, yes, I think he did a very, very good job. Well, no, he was very good in Tracy. Very good. But, I like to see the real face, like this.
We go to Denver, Colorado. Hello.
Hello, good evening. I wanted to ask Albert, where does he get the basis for most of his humor? And secondly, we talked a little bit about Andrew Dice Clay earlier, but I'd really like to know what Albert thinks about all the attention he's been getting and whether he sees that humor as being acceptable or not acceptable, and I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So where I get my humor?
Impossible to explain.
No, I was going to give him an address.
Oh.
It's one of the 800 things.
I see.
Yeah.
Want to know how Albert gets his humor? 1995.
I think the Andrew Dice Clay is exactly getting that. It's just too much. It's too much. I don't. It's not good or bad. I don't think it incites people, and I don't even know if it's anything. It's just.
Why are we so carried away with it then?
Because he's saying all those words, Larry. That's why. And if Two Live Crew were funny, they wouldn't have been busted. That's what Andrew Dice's lawyer said. No, I'm just kidding. But Andrew Dice's defense every time I see him on television is that he's funny. So I don't think that's good enough. Is it?
It's not good enough. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't think Lenny Bruce was funny, but they came anyway. I don't know. It's too much attention, isn't it?
I think so. It's over. That's what he's saying.
I don't. People make so much out of words. It's just words. Just detach the meaning, and it's just silly. Or play it backwards. It's all of they're very lovely meanings in Swedish. Did you ever? Well, I can't say the word, but you say it backwards. Kuf. It means hello. I like you.
We'll be back with Albert Brooks in our remaining moments after these messages.
I goof you.
Attention inventors, innovators, and new idea people. Please have a pencil ready to write down this very important toll-free number. International Product Design of Washington, D.C. will send you free information on the inventing process when you dial 1-800-247-4500. You'll also receive an informative free brochure on the difficulties as well as the satisfaction of launching a new product. To receive this free inventor's kit, simply dial 1-800-247-4500. When you call right now, you'll also receive free confidential forms plus other interesting information about the Invention Store in Washington, D.C. All you have to do is pick up the phone right now and dial 1-800-247-4500. So if you or someone you know has an invention, a new product, or just an idea, it's time to do something about it. Take that first step. Dial 1-800-247-4500. That's 1-800-247-4500.
If you take pain relievers for arthritis, there's a painful fact about Tylenol you should know. Although it can relieve minor arthritis pain, Tylenol is powerless against the arthritis inflammation that's a major cause of stiffness and swelling. For that, take Bayer aspirin. Bayer relieves minor arthritis pain and when taken regularly reduces the inflammation Tylenol can't touch. Ask your doctor how Bayer can help you. For arthritis, Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
Use only as directed.
Here's a letter about excessive perspiration addressed to the Newmark Health Advisor.
Dear Sir, I perspire too much. When I'm nervous, my sides get soaked. It's embarrassing. What shall I do?
You may have hyperhidrosis or excessive perspiration. For relief, we recommend Certain Dry. It contains a formula that dermatologists prefer for excessive perspiration over all leading formulas.
Dear Sir, I took your advice about Certain Dry. My perspiration is under control. I'm deliriously happy.
Use only as directed.
You're listening to The Larry King Show, tonight from Westwood One in Los Angeles. And now, Larry King.
With Albert Brooks, we go to Austin, Texas. Hello.
Hey, Albert.
How are you, buddy?
Oh, all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good, buddy.
Listen, there's a scene in Lost in America where you're talking to Hans, the Mercedes dealer,
Yeah.
and you say, "My God, that's a lot of money for a car." And Hans says, "Well, what would you rather do? Drive a Nova?"
Yeah.
I saw that on my 16th birthday, and I just got a Nova for my birthday, and I was crushed that you knocked my car. How did you come up with that type of vehicle?
Not only that, that was Albert's voice. Albert was talking to himself. He did the voice of that car dealer. Why did you pick the Nova?
Yeah, that was my question. Why'd you get the Nova? And then I'll tell you my answer.
Okay, why'd you get a Nova, sir?
My dad bought it for my 16th birthday.
But how'd you pick the Nova brand?
Why did he pick the Nova brand?
Yeah, I'm just curious. We asked that question here at Chevy.
It was a good, cheap, reliable car.
Yeah.
Good, cheap, reliable car.
Right, and it was a good, cheap, reliable joke, sir.
All right. Anyway, it was great as a 16-year-old. Hear my car mentioned in an Albert Brooks film. It was just I don't know, it's just a cheap thrill.
And how old are you today?
Now I'm 22.
Where's that car?
I'm still driving it.
Really?
Yeah.
How many miles?
I put 100,000 miles on it myself.
Sir McCann Erickson is going to be in contact with you. You might be in a Chevy commercial. We'll take your number. Stay on the air.
Thanks a lot, Albert.
All right, buddy.
Albert Brooks, we go to Miami. Hello.
Albert Brooks.
Yes, sir?
Oh, wow, I can't believe I'm talking to you.
You are.
This is great. I got to tell you, Lost in America is one of my favorite movies in the whole world.
I'd ask your other two, but I'd feel sick.
I got to tell you, one of my favorite lines is, we don't say eggs anymore, we say things with toast.
That's it.
Yeah, great.
Which, by the way, is served here on some of the restaurants in L.A. Things with toast in tribute to me.
And I'm a singer and an entertainer, so I always remember that. The desert inn has heart. The desert inn has heart.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, sir. You consider singing and entertaining separately?
Yeah. Do you ever come to Miami Beach, by the way?
I did once to meet a girl.
You did?
Yes.
What happened?
She was in Miami, not Miami Beach.
Oh.
I didn't know the city well enough.
A couple other things, Albert. Thank you for calling. The last time you called, you were in a home in Phoenix, scared.
Oh, now let me tell you, I wasn't in Phoenix. See, this is it. See, Larry, you're too busy.
Okay.
I was making a science fiction film about money calling you from Phoenix.
Okay, where were you?
I can't win. I'm scared.
Where were you calling from?
I've told you too much. I was calling from Palm Springs. I made an afterlife movie, and I never mentioned money.
All right.
Okay, you had just signed a contract. You had money on the brain.
Okay.
But I'll tell you your show provided a service. I was talking to you on the phone. The alarm went off in this rented house, and I thought somebody was in the house. You heard it in my voice. Right. I talked to my mother 2 days later. Honey, I heard someone broke into your house. How'd you know that? Well, Aunt Maddie was up at 3 in the morning listening to Larry and heard it, and she called me. It's such a funny way to get information to my mother. So
that was the service I performed, and it turned out there was no person in the house going to kill you, and there was no your fear was unwarranted.
Well, no, not at all. 2 people broke in, but we had a long, long talk, and we negotiated. They took some of the silverware, and I gave them the wristband of the watch, and I kept the actual watch.
Do you realize, Albert, I'm not going to be on this program for 3 weeks? I'm not going to see Duke Ziebert for another 4 weeks?
This is historic.
This is historic.
The longest since you've been on the air? The longest since the beginning of time?
Yeah, except for the surgery. 3 weeks
Well, that
off.
doesn't count.
That doesn't count. This is the longest I've ever been off the air.
Really?
3 weeks. It's hard to believe that I'm going to be gone.
I'm the last guest.
The last guest till August 6th.
Oh, man.
Does that touch you?
Yes. Ew.
Humble you.
Ew.
Another quick call in for Albert. One more call. Pittsburgh. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, it's gone. See, they hung up. They thought I was saying
It was a
goodnight.
very quick call.
It was a very quick.
Yeah. The answer is no.
What was the question?
Well, I get the quick question that they called in. Well, I might come up and see you in the Goodwill games. I could sit in the booth.
You could sit in the booth.
Is it the same exact thing as the Olympics? All the things in the
All
Olympics?
the 21
Swimming?
events, 21 sports.
Swimming?
Swimming. Top swimmers are coming.
Topless swimmers?
The top swimmers.
Oh, top swimmers.
Ted Turner and Jane Fonda will
They're
be
going
there.
to swim? Oh. Mark Spitz?
Mark Spitz will be there.
He
Mark
will be
Spitz
swimming?
is on the show Tuesday night.
Right, and he's 60 now, right? He's going to swim?
Yeah.
Good. He swims with the medals, which slows him down.
Well, Albert, say goodnight.
Good night, Larry.
Good night, Albert. Albert Brooks, earlier Henry Lou and Monty Hall, all of this will be repeated following the news.
I know this is impossible, but I wish you were a pretty woman.
Oh, I see. Could like the end of the night.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite the end. I might be all right. I'll be okay. I'll leave my number here in case you change.
Good night.
It's time to say good night and good morning from The Larry King Show, a feature presentation of the Mutual Broadcasting System. The opinions expressed are those of Larry and his guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the network or its sponsors. The Larry King Show is produced by Pat Piper. Judith Thomas is the associate producer, with programming assistance from Chris Castleberry. Join Larry live each week and listen to the best of King, highlights of previous shows on weekends. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.